Hey, this your boy Diggaveli. Welcome back to the channel, and I got one of the craziest videos that I've ever seen, guys. That's pretty much what I just post on this channel, though. Stuff that you have a hard time believing without actually seeing. Um, Johnson and Johnson, man. One of the most prominent brands that I can think of since I was even in existence. Baby stuff and all that. You putting they products on your infants, and these people just have no regard for anybody that they sell anything to. Even if they hurt you, they could sell you something to make your skin fall off. And you just might, hey, want what, $1 in compensation? They will hire lawyers and create 20 companies to crash into the ground and bankrupt so they don't have to give you a dime. But if you don't believe me, you don't have to. Let's check out this video.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Haas, if I could just come back to you. Let me ask you about the Ingham case. I'm sure you remember that case. That was the one litigated in my state, in the state of Missouri. 22 plaintiffs who alleged that your baby powder caused ovarian cancer. By the way, didn't the FDA find that there were traces of asbestos in your baby powder?
The FDA outsourced to a lab that found asbestos, a trace amount of asbestos in one lot, and 150 studies thereafter were done of that batch and found no asbestos. And if
Uh, you know, just to cut them off line real quick, I seen multiple articles of them causing cancer in that product. So this guy definitely is dishonest.
there was asbestos in that,
Okay. That's quite the word salad. But if we just compress, I think the answer is yes, right? Did the FDA find that there were traces of asbestos in your baby powder?
no,
Yes.
ultimately,
No?
no,
The Third Circuit got that wrong? I just read it in their opinion.
ultimately, if the
Wait. Answer my question. The Third Circuit was wrong about that? I just read it in their opinion. They said the FDA found traces of asbestos in your baby powder.
The FDA outsourced to a lab that found a trace amount of asbestos.
Okay, so the
Thereafter,
answer is yes. So let's go back to the Ingham case then. I think it's a relevant question. Do you remember what the verdict was in the Ingham case, what the jury found, what they awarded?
as the chair properly stated, it was initially $4.6 billion for a consolidated trial of 22 plaintiffs that was reduced thereafter to $2.2 billion.
$2.24 billion finally on appeal. That's a lot of money. That's one case, 22 plaintiffs, 20 at the end of the day because of the appeal. You were facing how many additional cases after that?
We have thousands of cases.
Thousands, tens of thousands, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So one set of plaintiffs gets $2+ billion. You have the potential for, by that math, tens of billions more, right? Who knows
No,
what?
not necessarily, because recall, most claimants lose and receive zero.
So what you do is, after the Ingham case, your company panics, and what you do is you then decide, oh my gosh, we can't possibly do this. We don't want to pay these plaintiffs this kind of money. So you then create a separate company for the sole purpose of declaring bankruptcy and making sure that the tens of thousands of other plaintiffs get scraps.
The proposal.
And for anybody that kind of missed it, they got sued, and a group of 20 plaintiffs won $2.2 billion from them. That's how bad the case was. 20 people splitting $2.2 billion. That's set for life. Generations gonna eat off of that. But you don't know what type of problems they had or any of that stuff, man. And you see how this guy is, man, that represents Johnson & Johnson. I'm pretty sure he's high up there. Because he's actually at a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. So you have to have some type of, high representation in that company to go represent them and something like this. But man, they just have you see what he said? He was so proud. Oh, this and that, and some plaintiff lose and gets nothing. Like, you so proud to say that you're hurting people and giving them cancer from your products and that they sued you and got nothing. These people are disgusting, man. These people are disgusting, man. And capitalism isn't bad. It's monopolizing and how they allow these rich companies to just buy everything up from everybody, and regular people can't even have anything. Why go to this little small town store over here and spend money when you can go to this huge store over here that has everything, including what they have, for a cheaper price because they spend more money buying from the manufacturers, so they get it at a better deal and go to this place? I'm pretty sure, everybody, for the most part, will want to go to this place, this huge corporate place where they can save $5, $10 off an item that you might have to go over here to this small business and spend, just $5, $10 more on. Like, so it's the monopolizing in this country that just ruins capitalism in America, man. And big pharma is terrible, and they really play a big part in how terrible this country is, and just everything about capitalism right now in America.
That we had would never succeed and would not have succeeded but for the support of the claimants that had made the proposed resolution. We went to
I have no idea what
bankruptcy
you're
court.
saying. I thought it was plaintiffs who sued you that went all the way to the Third Circuit where they said you couldn't do what you're trying to do. You're saying that you're saying the plaintiffs wanted this? They like the Texas two-step? The plaintiffs want to be denied their day in court and denied recovery?
The majority of claimants, counsel representing the majority of claimants, yes, do want this resolution because most claimants receives nothing.
Let's talk
That
about
was
what
an
you
aberrant
Let's talk
one-off
about what you
verdict.
did. First of all, I think it's outrageous, the idea that plaintiffs want to be denied their day in court. That's why they took you to court. That's why the Third Circuit ruled against you. Let's talk about what you did. Here is, according to the Third Circuit, an abbreviated version of how you tried to avoid actually paying out liability. Old Consumer, which was one of your subsidiaries, merged into Chenango Zero LLC, a Texas limited liability company, wholly owned subsidiary of J&J, with Chenango Zero surviving the merger. Chenango Zero then effected a divisional merger under the Texas Business Code by which two new Texas limited liabilities were created, Chenango 1 and Chenango 2, and Chenango Zero ceased to exist. Then Chenango 1 converted into a North Carolina limited liability company and changed its name to LTL. Chenango 2 then merged into Curahee Holding Company, the direct parent company of LTL. Curahee survived the merger and then changed its name to Johnson & Johnson Consumer Incorporated. Are you here to tell us that you think that this is a great way to proceed and is fair to the consumers who had asbestos in their baby powder?
Indeed, the claimants after that transaction had access to more recourse than they did before.
This dude said indeed without hesitation. For those who, don't understand what he just said, they basically created like 8 shell companies, like fake companies. Never even probably even got builders, none of that shit for these places ever. Just complete paperwork. Created damn near 8 companies, 8 to 10 companies, basically just to wash liability through all of them, man, to dissolve them, to where they don't have to pay nothing to the people that sued them for getting them cancer and sick through the products that they use. How disgusting is that, man? People really need to wake up to how they're being done out here, man. Like, these people basically just use you as profit, just strictly money. You just walk around and the only thing they see in their eyes is just like cash, just walking. How creepy is that, man? And then they do you wrong, giving you cancer through a product. You try to get compensation for it. Hell, you might just want some money to pay for the cancer bills that you have now. And they will go create 30 companies just to not give you pennies. This shit is disgusting.
Before, which is exactly the
You
reason.
created, in the words of the Third Circuit, you created a company with the sole purpose of sending it into bankruptcy. So you could limit your liability. Here's what I don't understand. Johnson & Johnson is a hugely profitable company, isn't it?
This is where we're talking about a subsidiary.
Oh, I know, but you own them all.
Position.
You own them all. So aren't you hugely profitable? I mean, how much money did you make on the COVID vaccine, for example?
Nothing, actually. We made nothing.
You got billions of dollars in subsidies from the federal government. Taxpayers have paid you billions. How much did you make on opioids? All those opioids you prescribed? How much did you make on that over the years?
I do not have that information.
Really? I thought it was curious when you said that your company credo was to always put the public first.
It is.
Was that what you were doing when you were lying to doctors and patients about the addictive nature of opioids? Is that why your company agreed to billions of dollars in settlements with states and other localities because of what you did to further the opioid crisis?
We prevailed in the only 2 cases that were tried.
You settled for billions of dollars, and I brought one of those suits, and it's the proudest thing I ever did as Attorney General of the state of Missouri. Your company has made billions of dollars on American consumers, multiple times lying to them. And the idea that you now are looking actively for ways to limit the liability for further torts you have committed against the American people, I think is outrageous, absolutely outrageous. And if you want to know why the American people don't trust huge corporations, it's because of companies like yours. And I would just say to my colleagues, if you want to know why private rights of action are so darn important and why we need to use them against the big tech companies, this is the reason why. One jury verdict got $4.6 billion. That's a hammer. Companies fear it. They fear it. It's why they're trying to distort the bankruptcy code to avoid it. We need to give more Americans the ability to get that recourse in court. And we need to change the bankruptcy code to make sure that companies like J&J can't avoid it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Hawley. Senator Coons.
Thank
And see, this is what the average American don't know, man. These rich people, they have access to better information than us, man. Better information than me and you. So they know how to avoid stuff like that, getting sued and this, run you a whole bunch of fake companies and crash them. And the liability with them. Like, education is key, man. But not only is it just knowing how to do stuff like that and gray areas and loopholes, but it also help you fight back against, as the little guy. Cause man, we're all the little guy, and Johnson & Johnson showed everybody that. But glad they got caught and got held accountable, man. Shout out to Josh Hawley, man, grilling him, real American patriot, man. And hopefully, he stays in office, man. And hopefully, we see him in the White House one day. But man, that's a crazy video, man. Y'all seen it like I seen it. I'm out. Be smart.